On March 14th, 1997, I went to a Tool concert in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and believe it or not, while I was there, I became a Christian. I grew up in a small town in northern New Mexico called Los Alamos. I suppose I was a relatively good kid when I was young. I didn't get into a ton of trouble. I did fairly well in school. I played a lot of sports. I was raised in a good, moral, church-going home. I had a great family. I had great friends. And I think it was in 10th grade when my best friend Max moved out of town, and I was kind of in need of a new peer group. I started hanging out with a great group of guys that I got along well with, and together we did kind of the high school exploration thing where we started experimenting with alcohol and then lighter drugs. And before long, those became staples of my lifestyle. I was a heavy pot smoker. I started to use other psychedelic drugs. I got a little experimental with other heavier drugs. I used cocaine a few times. And the trajectory of my life, which had been primarily focused on sports, began to shift over to music. I was playing guitar, I was playing in some bands. And there was this one band that I was a part of, Binder Monkey, that started to get a little bit of attention locally. And even one of the Albuquerque radio stations started to play our songs a little bit. No way. We'd all hang out together and record the radio, listening for our songs in hopes that it would come on. One night we actually caught it. It was the first time that our songs were ever on the radio, and I think it's on this tape. Ugh, sounds like local radio. That's not us. There it is. That's it. No way, no way. This is it.
Edge music from Naomi off Hertz, that's Gabriel. This one most requested of, gosh, I'd say the past 3 weeks. Finally got it in my grubby little paws. This is Binder Monkey with Wash on the local Edge.
So forming in my mind was this dream of what my life might look like. And it looked like music, drugs, alcohol, women, money, fame. The funny thing about it was that we were just kind of a big fish in a small pond. We weren't even a big fish. We were like a medium-sized fish in a small pond. Alongside this dream, there was this identity that was forming. I was imagining myself and reinventing myself in a way that corresponded with where I wanted to see myself going. The problem, of course, and I can see this clearly in retrospect, this was the worst possible version of myself. That dream was producing in me a justification for living the most hedonistic lifestyle I could possibly imagine. I was going after everything that had ever been forbidden in the home that I grew up in, and everything that was forbidden by kind of my own moral conscience. In the spring of '97, a number of things happened. I had a friend commit suicide. I almost burned down my house one night while my roommate was asleep. The couch was on fire and the room was about to catch on fire. And it was that spring that the band started to unravel, and with it, my dream started to slip through my fingers. I was very disillusioned with my life. Not only were the circumstances painful, but I was really unhappy with who I was. Something was deeply wrong inside of me. I felt lost, I felt empty. I kept thinking, who am I? And what's wrong with me? And what am I doing with my life? Like, where am I going? And the answer to that question was nowhere. So I felt this desperate need to get my life right, and I kind of intuitively knew that the answer to that required God, whatever that meant. So I would drop acid or smoke a joint and read the Bible. I'm not advocating that, I'm just saying that's what I did. Now, I was a rock and roll guy, probably because my dad was a rock and roll guy, and that was just the environment that I grew up in. I really loved Boston, I loved Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, but the band I really loved that spring was Tool. I mean, those guys rocked hard. I loved the vocals, I loved the melodies, I loved the drumming. Hard, powerful, soul-stirring rock for me. I just loved it. So Tool comes to Albuquerque in March of '97, and me and a bunch of friends go down to the concert, and there are two really major things that happened that night. First, outside the concert, there was a group of people sharing the message of Jesus with concert goers. I didn't really know what they were up to, but I didn't like the feel of it, and I began to mock them. When I realized they were talking about Jesus, I thought, what am I doing? I like Jesus. I've been reading about him on acid, and I like him. And I had this wave of guilt come over me that I could not shake. I felt so bad for making fun of these people. The second thing happened inside during the show. In light of how deeply I loved this band, I was really shocked at how uncomfortable I was inside listening to the music. I had this overwhelming sense of darkness, like something really bad was happening in my life that night, and I probably shouldn't be there. As I'm watching the show, up on the screen above the band, there's this picture of this monkey that evolves into a man and then turns into a skeleton, and at some point, the skeleton is kind of walking in a repetitive circle, and this thought comes to mind, and I don't think this is necessarily what the band intended to communicate, but I thought, that man is dead and he's going nowhere. He's like the Walking Dead. And something about that struck me so powerfully because I realized in that moment that that was me. I am a walking dead man. Darkness, death, emptiness, life is missing from me. And then rushing into my mind are all the memories of the times in my life that I had heard about Jesus. Things that my mom had said, things that I had learned in church, things that those Christians were saying to me as I was walking into the show that night. It all came rushing back to me, and I went out into the parking lot and I started to pray. God, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I am done running. I want to know you. I want to follow you. I'm done with the drugs. I'm done with the recklessness. I believe what Jesus has done. I believe that his death paid for my sins, that he gave his life as a sacrifice for me. I received that sacrifice. Please forgive me. Please receive me. Please accept me. I want to be your child. I want to be your follower. I want to walk with you. I want to know you. I want to change. I want to live for you. I want to be with you forever. Please, God, please. And I felt relief. I felt peace. I felt washed. Something happened. We went back to my friend's house, pulled out the bong. They wanted to smoke. I can't. I think I became a Christian. And they're like, dude, are you kidding me? Come on. I can't. You got, like, something crazy happened back there. It's amazing. I have not been a drug user or abuser from that night forward. Like, he rescued me. It was just the weirdest night. It was like the lowest point in my life and the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. God used my confused identity crisis, my drug habit, and catch this, he even used my broken dreams. All of these things brought me to this point of realizing I'm a wreck, I can't fix myself, and I cannot find what I'm looking for. And I go to the Bible and I read again and again and again. That's where God tends to meet people, in their brokenness. That's my story. It was a bunch of pieces that all culminated in one night in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where God reached down from heaven and saved my soul. Now here's the reason I'm sharing that story. Some of you have very different circumstances in your life, but you're feeling the same things that I felt. You feel lost, you feel insecure. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? I'm stuck. My dreams are dying. My dreams are dead. You've looked at this option, no satisfaction. This option, no satisfaction. You tried this, still can't find what you're looking for. And the thing is, until you look at Jesus, I think you'll just keep hunting. I don't know your situation, but I know what you're looking for. I'm not better than anybody. This isn't a morality contest, and if it were, I would fail. We would all fail. I just feel like I found something, and to use an old phrase, I'm one beggar telling other beggars where they can find bread. There's just nothing like it. There's nothing like it. That's my take. Feel free to share yours or ask your questions in the comments below. And please don't forget to subscribe. That allows me to catch you and you to catch me next time. Take care, guys. If you were at Tingley Coliseum, March 14th, 1997, sharing Jesus with people going into the Tool concert, seriously, thank you. I can't wait to meet you someday.